do is too late.
Hey, cool.
No, what you can do is turn off your camera, change your name. It'll be as if you were never here. Okay, there you go. So we will be posting this on our Agile Austin YouTube channel. Okay, if you haven't, I'll send a link out afterwards and when to join. Our mission, Agile Austin, as you can read, I will just emphasize on the last part, whereas uncovering better ways to deliver value through Agile values, principles, and practices. We really are a knowledge sharing organization, been around since 2007. And what we do is we just love to share the Agile love, especially through our multiple meetup sessions and SIGs. We have about 8 of them this month, and that's what we do. For those of you that are not aware, the board, I've been a part of Agile Austin since 2010. I get confused if it's 2009 or 2010. So over 10 years. I've been on the board for a few years, and now I'm president. Steve is vice president. Carrie, who is normally here, as I said, is chief product owner. Leland Newsom, who's also been around for a long time, he's our chief learning officer. We are trying to start up our own Agile Austin University. We've had it in the past. We want to bring it back. It just feels that these COVID times have disrupted a lot, but now we're getting back into the swing of things. We have a new Agile Austin site. We had an awesome conference last Friday. So it just feels as if things are gradually coming back to normal, gradually. Adam Lee is our Chief Technology Officer, and Scott Keeling, who is our treasurer, is also one of our Agile Austin founders. Back in 2007, there were about 3 to 4 people, and Scott Keeling was one of them. As you can tell, we've got a lot of people that have the board that have just been around for a long time at the organization. And I think there's such a value in that, right? But at the same time, having to get new people in is so key. As I said, we have a lot of Agile Austin events. The easiest way to be aware of them is go to Meetup, try to do it even now, and search for Agile Austin and just subscribe to that, because then you'll get a communication for all our Agile Austin events, okay? And as you can see here, we have a book club, we have special interest groups, we call them SIGs, and there are SIGs on whether it be Agile coaching. There's a Scrum Master SIG who is facilitated by Jessica Barr, who's here on the call. We have At Scale. I have facilitated the Agile Austin Leaders SIG for 10 years. We actually have our anniversary is November 2011. So I'm having a panelist of the old school folks that were there from the beginning in December. It's just exciting to have folks that have been around for a long time, because then you can talk about the transformation, the evolution of stuff that has happened in the Agile world. Lean Kanban, Scrum Master SIG, as I said, DevOps, and here we're at the monthly speaker series. It happens every second Tuesday of the month. Upcoming events for SIGs, when you sign up on Meetup for the Agile Austin org, you will also see this. We have our Scrum Master one that is coming out this Monday. Shout out to Jessica. Woohoo! Then we've got the book club that has been going on every month. That is on Thursday. And on Friday next week is Agile at Scale, finding the missing pieces. We got 3 events going on just next week from the Agile Austin organization. And these are the next monthly series that we have after this one of November. December is more of like a membership appreciation thing. We always do it as kind of like a holiday party, and let's just get together and have fun, okay? And we have awards and stuff that we do. So members only, they'll be getting the communication. We are inclusive. We are inclusive for the most part. This is the one thing we do. probably as members only. Okay. So January on the 12th, we'll have Visual Jam Party with Patty and Grant from the UK. And I think it's just phenomenal that we keep on having speakers now that are not just national, are global. This is what Zoom has allowed us to do. I believe that we will do some more local Austin events in the future, but we'll always keep a very, probably the majority, like 70–80% plus of our events will just stay on Zoom because we've got people to join from all over the country, the world, and we have speakers and members. We have Agile Austin members that are not from Austin. I think that that is just the great thing of today. If people get value from what you do, they just join as a member, right? Do you need to be within the Austin area to join? No, we'll take your money wherever you're at. I think that to answer that question, no. As I said, there are people that join from everywhere. And I think that for the future, we've seen the value of just doing these sessions online, and it's going to stay like that. It's going to stay like that for the most part. I think we will try to do some more things for people to be able to connect in person, but 80-20 rule, probably. Okay. And thank you, Jessica, for sharing the link. Sponsorship, I work at PayPal. PayPal is going to be a sponsor. Okay. I've only been there for 2.5 months. So, I got to pace myself and how much I get them involved. But we've always had tons of sponsors. We had all our sponsors for our Keep Austin Agile Conference last Friday. We had every slot full. But if you are interested, if your company might be interested in sponsorship, contact at agileaustin.org. And we've got 2 particular people on the board that handle corporate sponsorships. Membership, I talked about already. It's $35 per year, but I think it's just important to understand that on our new site, there's more and more things we're going to be bringing out from members, because now we actually have a member portal on our site. Like, folks, we're like stepping it up technology-wise. I mean, we didn't have a YouTube channel like a year and a half. I mean, Jessica, do you remember when the YouTube channel went live? It wasn't that long ago, right?
It wasn't.
It's funny how, it's a volunteer organization, okay? We're not getting paid exactly here, so things might be gradual to pick up. But no, we've got a lot of awesome things that we're bringing out for the members. Mentoring, classes at a lower cost, like a discounted classes, et cetera, and et cetera. Folks, we usually jump into a networking session right now, but hey, why don't we throw something in there and see if there might be some interest? So for today, we could either do a networking session where you break up in groups and you do that and just chat, or Kahoot game. I don't know how many of you have experienced Kahoot. It's kind of online quiz game where you can win prizes if you answer questions correctly and you're in the top 3. So I have just started to use Zoom polls a little bit too much in the last few weeks. I get very excited. So allow me to fire up a poll, okay? And so I am launching a poll right now. You should see 2 options. You can either choose networking breakout rooms, or you can choose the Kahoot game. Oh, whoa. I'm seeing a particular interest going in one direction. Okay. I'm not sure if everybody has answered yet. Let's give it a second or 2. Okay, still some people are answering. You only have 2 options, folks. Kept it as simple as possible. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. And so you can probably see the results that I see. So 78% said they won the Kahoot game, and 22% said the networking rooms. So folks, I try to keep this as democratic as possible. I know some people might not get what they want, but let us go ahead and do this Kahoot game. All right. I'm kind of excited because, you know, I just like got the license for Kahoot for the organization. So we're going to start to do more of this with SIGs and stuff like that. So it's kind of a trial run here to see how it goes. So folks, we're going to have a bunch of questions and I'll explain that a bit more and everything. But just know that it's about having fun, but it's even competitive. And for the people that do come between first, second, and third, we got about 17, almost 20 people here. For the people that come before first, second, and third, there's gonna be an actual gift card, okay? Gift card that I'll email you, which is gonna be worth first is $75, second place is $50, third is $25. All right. Do I hear the excitement out there? Do I hear the excitement or not? I mean, virtually, even hands up and everything. There you go. Mike, Sandy, Mohan, Jessica, I saw it. Corrine, I saw it. All right. So let's do this. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay. Let me go to it. I thought I had it opened and everything, and maybe I didn't. Let me go to it. That's what happens when you think you have everything set up, but then it's like, where is the window? Let me go back and find it. Give me a second, folks. No, that's not the one I want. Of course, things don't always go as you plan. Hold on a second. I did have it till about a second ago, and now I can't find it. Hold on. Let me go out of this. Aha! Do you see it, folks? Do you see it? Stay calm, everybody. Stay calm. Be agile and stay calm, okay? So here's how it's going to go. I'm going to send you a code, but you have to go fire up a new browser or on your phone or something else. Go to kahoot.it. So I'm going to put it in the chat for those of you that might be the first time that you're doing this. Kahoot, as in KAHOOT.IT. Okay. And you will answer from there the questions. Is everybody gone to kahoot.it? Okay. I'm getting some nods. All right. Okay. So, you know, we might be making some progress here. Okie doke. Hold on. Can't you just do what I'm saying? Percent. Seems like you don't have access to this code. Oh, what is happening now? No.
Are you logged in?
I'm logged in. I was. That's how I got to it. Hold on, folks. Just give me a second. Or maybe I have two accounts, That's what it might be. Hold on. Let me log out and go back in. This is the one that I wanted to do. This Kahoot is private. No, that's the one I just created. Let me see if I have to log back out and log back in. Hold on, folks. Sorry for this. Things somehow don't go as planned always. Let me bring this over.
Show this.
Okay, folks, we might be making progress. Fingers crossed here, okay? Okay, put this code in your Kahoot, okay? Let's hope that this works. This code here is 6716329. As soon as you put it in, I should start to see it. Mohan, Tam, Ross, Corinne, hey, this might work, man. Don't jinx it. This might work, okay? Skywalker, yes. JC Sandy, I got to pick that piece of paper to put down who's going. Rose, David, yes, yes, okay, we've got, yes. Mike the Mike, yay. Get creative and everything, but then I might not know who you are. You'll have to ping me, okay, to tell me who you are in case you win. All right. Has everybody signed in now? Everybody signed in, so we are gonna get started. We're gonna get started, okay? All right. Rapid Koala 38 was the last person to join. Dreamy, oh wait, we've still got some people that are joining. Okay, the code is 6716329. You should be on kahoot.it. Are we sure we're all in now? Okay, I don't see anybody else joining, so we should be good to go. Let's do this. Okay, Agile Austin Holiday Kahoot? Which one is this? Oh no, this is the different one, but this is the one we're gonna do, okay? What city is Agile Austin located in? Answer it, and we'll take it from here. I can't believe it. We've got 9 more seconds, and I think I don't want to touch anything and stop this because this is just going to crash. Okay, so I'm not going to do that. All right, this is kind of for people to just get acquainted with it. Oh wait, it wasn't a trick question, folks. Had a couple of people that got it wrong, but let's move on. Let's move on. And we got that was a quiz question with no points. What year was Agile Austin founded?
Defense.
What year was Agile Austin founded? You could Google this and answer it, but who answers it earlier actually gets to win and get more points. And we've got right now, yes, we've got 7 people that got it right. Okay, we've got someone at the top. Agile Jess, you go, Jess. You go. And then going on, Mohan, Sandy. Let's go into the next one. Let's go on. Okay. Who was the first president of Agile Austin? Ooh, here we're going historic. We're going historic. I'll give you a hint. I mentioned his name already today. I mentioned his name. Okay, yes. I'm not going to give you any more hints than that one. Okay. So let's please do not refresh. Oh, reconnect. Hey, yes. Scott Keeling was the first president back in 2007. Oh, yes. Jessica's still in the lead. Sandy is second and OM is third. All right, Mohan and Tam, hang in there. Hang in there, okay? Quiz question number 3. How many Agile Austin paying members? Maybe not as of today, but as of about 10 months ago. Just take a guess. Take a guess. How many paying members do you think we had as of the holiday party? December. This is like so crazy. And the number was, okay, we had fewer than 100, okay? But that's funny because it wasn't any of the other, we had greater than 100, sorry, I'm getting confused. We had greater than 100, more than 100 paying members. 8 of you got that right, way to go. Agile Jess is still in the lead. Tam is back up. Sandy, are you hanging in there, Sandy? Are you hanging in there? Come on, we got a few more questions. Diva is on fire. Okay, if you're on fire, you start to go up, okay? You might just make it up there, okay? And again, this was as of December. How many sponsors did Agile Austin have, okay? This was as of, people will probably not have a clue about this, but I had to put some questions in there just to spice it up. And so just guess something. And the answer is 15 Agile Austin sponsors we had. Oh my goodness, this is too funny. And Tam is on fire, going up the list. Hey, slow down there, huh? Diva's still there, okay? Mike the Mic is on there now. He wasn't on there before, so let's see how this goes. All right, going on to the next one, okay? Which company has been a platinum sponsor more than anyone else? There was one company that has been a platinum sponsor for Agile Austin more than anybody else in the history of Agile Austin. Who's that? Who is it? Huh? We love our folks. I threw in Whole Foods because, you know, I was an employee of Whole Foods just up until 2 months ago. Oh, I'm sorry. Did someone choose Whole Foods? My bad. I'm like, you know, just talking while I'm doing this. I should have. Agile Velocity, consulting firm here in Austin. And they are not only been our platinum sponsors for you, they sponsored our Keep Austin Agile conference for years and years. And it was just phenomenal, okay? So going on, Jessica is still there, but you know what? Right behind you is OM. Who is OM? Who is OM?
That is I. Oh,
there you go. Patel, I see you from Tampa, Florida. Way to go. Way to go. Having to give Jessica some competition. Diva's still up there. Tam, Mike the Mic. I think we almost have the same 5 folks. All right, let's see. We've got like about 3 more questions. How many Agile Austin events were held in November? Okay, that's funny. It was the previous November, but it's about the same as this November. And you're probably not going to have a clue, so you just have to guess this one. Sorry, folks. This got so jacked up, it's incredible. And it was 8. What's interesting is that I also counted the Agile Austin events for this November, and they're 8. Okay, we give Agile Austin on average, we have anywhere between 7 to 9 Agile Austin events every month. So the special interest groups that I talked about facilitate a session every month. And so I think it's awesome that we have the monthly series, but we also have a bunch of other things that people can plug into according to their needs. All of them are on Meetup. So sign up for Meetup, please. That's how you do it. Okay, so where are we now? Where are we now? Okay. So we have Jessica is followed closely by and Tam. Diva and Mohan are behind. Mohan has come back on the 5. Mike the Mic is not there anymore. The fight is nothing personal. Okay. Yes, Mike. If I didn't mess up on like the questions and getting the wrong Kahoot there, you would have been in first place. So all my fault. All my fault. Okay. So true or false? Agile Austin bank account has more than $85,000 in cash. We're a nonprofit. How much money could we possibly make? How much possibly? It was true then and it's true now. I mean, how much money can we possibly make? I mean, we're a nonprofit. But then again, we make a lot from our sponsors and other stuff. And so who knows where we're at? It's true. It's true. Okay. Presently now, and we've been pretty consistent for like 3 years. We have like about $100,000 in the bank account, stuff like that. And we've saved a lot because we don't have to host events in person and provide pizza and soda and stuff like that. But also our big money maker was the in-person conference. We would have a massive hotel downtown. It was such a big event. We'd have like between 700 and 800 people. And that was like, that's no more the case. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Next year or sometime soon, we can go back to that. How many questions are that? That's 8 out of 10. So we got 2 more questions. 2 more questions, okay? And we have, okay. Oh, wait. We've got some changes happening here. We've got some changes. We've got Tam. Tam is stepping up. That's Tam as in Tamara. Way to go.
Yeah.
Tam is stepping up. Diva or Deva, not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, is gradually going up, is there, top 5, okay. Top 3 is what's important, but you're still there, hang in there. And Mike the Mike is back. He's back, okay. In 5th place, but you're back, okay. So I believe we have 2 more questions. Is it question number 9 and 10? Let's see how it is. 9 out of 10. How many board members does Agile Austin have? Hurry up and answer quickly. It's speed here. It's not if you get it right. I'm sure you all are going to get it right. Okay, I had a slide on this, but it's speed. Speed is important in this game. Okay, just like it's important in Agile overall, speed, quick feedback loops, even here. So thank you for the 9 people that got it right. Okay, yes. And now we are, Tam is on fire. Tam is on fire, but still in 2nd place. Who knows in the last one here? Who knows? Almost come back up to 3rd. Way to go. Diva, Mike the Mike, still there. I think this is the last question, folks. You know, I mean, we're having fun, but we've got to end at some point. Okay? We've got to end at some point. And drum roll for the last question. I don't hear the excitement there. Do you want me to continue or should we just call it a day? I mean, do you want to continue? Do you want to continue? Yes. Ned, do you want me to continue? I'll click on it, Ned. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to
do
it. Just a second. Agile Austin annual membership dues are, I said it. What is it? What is it? You remember this? What is it? It's not free. It's not free. I wanted to put free there, but you know, no. Okay. It's not free. But it is the lowest one of it all. $35 a year is annual membership to Agile Austin. And 3rd place at $670. Hey, I'm going to be emailing you something to Florida. Tam, way to go. And in 1st place, we have Jessica. Jessica, you got good memory. Hey, Tam. Woo! And 3rd place. Woof. Way to go, folks. Way to go, man. Now, I'm going to put, Jessica knows how to contact me. The rest of you, okay, send me an email, okay, agileaustin.org. Guess who's not part of Agile Austin and still won? Hey, you see, all you got to do is just show up sometimes. That's all you've got to do. Like half of life is just being at the right place at the right time. That's half of life, because that's opportunity. You create the opportunity. Just saying. I love it. Tamara, how about you? Are you part of Agile Austin?
I am not. Actually, just introduced me to Agile Austin. Yeah.
Way to go, Jess. And now I'm going to be sending you a $50 gift certificate, which you could use to. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, folks. Thank you. Thank you for partaking in that. You know, I was just thinking that we would do something that is a bit of like a different spin to it. And next time we'll go back to the networking groups, okay? Or maybe we'll take a poll and see how it is. And, you know, now that we have the Kahoot game, and maybe someone else will be doing it next time that doesn't get the poll questions all messed up and whatnot. So, by the way, may I introduce the speaker for tonight? You know, I just like to say that I've spent a lot of time with this character, and I do want to say that I'm just very interested to hear what he has to bring to the table. He's there's a lot I can say more about him, but maybe we'll just cut short to it. Okay, maximum max tonight. Take it to the max, I say, Nate. Let's take it to the max. And so, Max Ekesi tonight is going to be speaking about targeted breakthrough solutions for Agile Transformations. Max is going to be our guest speaker for tonight. Can we have a round of applause for Max, please? There you go. Sandy, thank you. Mike, I appreciate that. Jessica, Tamara, sorry, Mohan, Linda, the virtual hand, yeah, the virtual clapping also works. David, I don't see you clapping. Are you clapping? Hey, David also is one of our old school Agile Austin folks. Good to see you out here today. Okay. So folks, let's go ahead and get started. We start on time, we end on time. We're gonna go till 7:30 Central, maybe even shorter, but I would like this to be as interactive as possible, and I will be telling you a bit more about that afterwards. So, targeted breakthrough solutions for an Agile Transformations. Now, what is it that is on the top of this slide? Because that is a key thing that I have discovered and is going to be at the core of the presentation for tonight. Is someone starting to put it in the chat? Let me bring up my chat. Okay, what do you see? Anybody feel free to share? The ripple effect, exactly. Oh, the ripple effect I discovered is so critical, is so efficient. It's like you throw a pebble in a lake that is just completely flat and everything. And then one action in a particular manner, in a particular spot can have an enormous outcome that just spreads further than what you could imagine. And from the perspective of the amount of effort you put into something and the return on investment and the return of value, that is a very powerful thing. And that is something about breakthrough solutions for Agile Transformations that I would like to share with you today. Disclaimer, I'm a very opinionated individual. So I'm going to be sharing my viewpoints, my thoughts from my experience. Everybody has their own experience. We don't have to always be on the same page. We don't agree. I would love to hear everything that everybody has to say, even though you're wrong and I'm right. I would still love to hear everything, but I just want to put a disclaimer out there because I'll say things that are just like, I don't agree with you, Max, and that's going to happen. And I feel that that's where we come together and share our best practices. I'm just sharing my viewpoint, and a lot of my viewpoint comes from the experience that I've had in 20 years. So very quickly, quick intro on myself. Maximilian Ekesi. I go by Max. I've lived in Austin, Texas for 20 years now. That's my entire professional career. And president of Agile Austin presently started in the summer. And for those of you that don't know where Austin, Texas is, I'm sure you know, it's like kind of central smack there in Texas. Right now, we're enjoying the best climate of the year. Like it's going to be beautiful for like 4 months, 5 months if we don't get winter storm that knocks out power and running water for days for a lot of people. But let's think positively about it. It's the winter months. And at the bottom there is a picture of me at the PMI conference before COVID started. And so just the point that I do speak at a lot of conferences, meetup sessions. I facilitate a session every year, also the SIG, which focuses on leading Agile transformation. So I just love to do this and so honored to be here to be able to do this. The main thing I put where I've worked at, not to say, look at where I've worked, but it's more to say, I've just worked at large enterprises. That's been my whole life, right? And so where I come from, my viewpoints, it might not make sense to someone that's worked at startups for the most part. I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I was in a company that only had 20 people. I think everybody might get a little bit overwhelmed with me there. I don't know how it would be, but I just think it's key that, that's where I come from. And where I specifically got exposed to Agile and started to believe in Agile was in 2007, because I worked on Dell.com. And for those that don't know, Dell.com was the first e-commerce site to make $1 million in revenue. And also the first e-commerce site to make $1 million a day. So all of a sudden, there was this need to change code in production very quickly because customers were providing feedback on, I can't buy this, or this configuration doesn't work. And, it was an e-commerce site, not like Amazon, that you just sold books and that's it. You could change processors, you could change memory, like hard drive. It was complicated stuff. And we just had to make quick changes, which a traditional waterfall project approach that might even take months would not work. We needed to make quick changes. Hence, Agile, Scrum, all of that in 2007, and I've never looked back. And it's incredible because I got started very early in this whole Agile. I got my Scrum Master certification in November of 2007. And it's incredible to see now where Agile is compared to then, right? So what we are going to be talking today, I like to say we, yes, I might be doing the majority of the talking, but I want it to be as interactive as possible. So please do feel free to put some stuff in the chat. There'll be times where I'll take a break and it'll be awesome to hear from people. But again, we'll have to keep it flowing in the interest of time. But we're going to be talking about three key things. First thing is, why bother? Every time I think about doing stuff, like why even bother having a breakthrough for an Agile transformation? Why is it so important? Talk about that a bit to start off. Then go into the breakthrough solutions that I'd like to share that I've experienced that have had the most success. And it just blew my mind away. But I'll talk about them as case studies because I always like to put almost like a personal case study, a story, an experience that I had with what I'm explaining. I feel that just connects it more. It gets the point across in a more of a storytelling manner, but calls out the important points that I took from it. And then I'd like to conclude with my tips. There are some things that I have experienced through my 20 years and my 12 to 13 years of Agile transformation that I think, I stumbled through them, struggled, have some scars that show for them, but I'd like to share it. What I think has very much helped me, right? So on we go. I see that, yes, we're going to do the case. Why bother? Why bother with this whole Agile transformation thing that we talk about? I always like to start up with telling people that the world today is changing faster than it ever has in our human existence. I mean, you can look at when the first smartphone came out in 2007 and look at where we're at now. The majority of online transactions are done on mobile devices. And they didn't even exist 15 years back. If you look at our history where the printing press came out and then nothing changed for like another 100 and something years or whatnot, the world is changing faster than it ever has. And no need to tell this crowd, which is already aware of it, it's just going to keep on changing faster. It's just going to speed up. That's just reality. And that's a key data point as we go into the next point. things are changing a lot, but it's interesting how what Darwin said in the 1800s still is very valid, very valid. And Darwin specifically called it out. And you could probably substitute species in this with companies, okay? It is not the species slash companies that will survive. It is not the strongest that will survive. It is not the ones with the most money. It's not the one with the most resources. It's not the most intelligent folks or companies, but it's the ones that are just going to be most adaptable to change. And this is so key to understand, because if it was the companies that were the strongest, had the most money, the top 5 companies now would not be Apple and Facebook and Alphabet. It would be the 5 oil companies that were the most on top of everything, the empires 20 years back. Okay, now why did the oil companies not understand that they had to evolve into energy companies and then take over renewable energy and invest a lot in that? Who knows why? But now they've dropped down in the pecking order. So I think that it's just so important to having to understand this. But then again, why bother? I just gave examples of companies that might not actually be as profitable, like the oil and gas companies. They're still around. They're still doing well. They still pay people fairly well and everything. Well, there's some other companies that are not, okay? And I think it's awesome that it just came to mind when I saw a documentary about Blockbuster and Netflix. And I saw it on Netflix, as a matter of fact. But I don't know if someone knows about that documentary I'm talking about. And if you do, feel free to put it in the chat. But it's about how Blockbuster was perfectly positioned to just dominate in like video rentals, streaming, stuff like that. And they actually created their headquarters in Dallas. They actually created a separate company, Blockbuster Online, to go after Netflix when they saw everything that was happening. And they were actually succeeding. They were succeeding. There was surveys that were done that people that would order, because they had to order stuff and they got a DVD, people would rather have gotten that DVD and then with a membership that Blockbuster had switched to, go to a Blockbuster and get a new one immediately instead of having to mail something to Netflix, wait for it to get to Netflix, wait for it to get mailed back. Blockbuster was positioned with their hundreds of stores everywhere, and yet they failed. And in the documentary, it specifically called out they got a new CEO who was the CEO at 7-Eleven and did fabulous at 7-Eleven, came over to Blockbuster and started putting popcorn in the Blockbuster stores, starting putting soda. That was their key to success. The rest is history. Very interesting. Well, let's switch also. Why bother? Nokia. I don't know if a lot of people, I don't know if anybody here is even, so many people have not used a Nokia. Yeah. But they dominated the mobile industry. They dominated in a way that Apple and Samsung have not even got close to. They had more than 50% of the market share, like in 2007 still. They were awesome. They had it across the world. And look at this now. Look at this now. I remember seeing an article where the CEO of Nokia, sometime around 2013 or something like that, he'd been there for years. He said, we did everything right and we still failed. Sorry, but maybe you didn't do everything right. Maybe you didn't, okay? Maybe you didn't adapt to the way that you had to do. Maybe you didn't have a breakthrough solution, like some way to change things that could have had immediate impact. Maybe you didn't, okay? And someone helped build the Nokia production lines in Irving, Texas. Yes, Mike. Maybe you can share someday some inside scoop about why Nokia didn't go in the right trend or direction. Right? I think that it's always interesting to see these case studies. And I wanted to say just a couple more things of why bother. I think it's important to talk about Agile transformations and continue to share best practices. And I'm just going to say, in the 12 years that I've been doing, I've seen a lot of things that have gone wrong. I see a lot of things, and having to talk about that could be a whole other presentation in itself. But I put up some of these screenshots of stuff that I've experienced. I've experienced huge, complicated transformation plans that go not just through the whole year, but go years. Like some people still feel comfortable about having to see a transformation plan that is so detailed that calls out every single thing that's going to happen for years to come. Why? Why do we still do this? There's a comfort that people still feel in seeing a very detailed thing like a work breakdown structure that is 325 lines and stuff like that, as if they know exactly what is going to happen. They can predict the future. And this is just something that I've seen a lot of. And please feel free to put in the chat, do you experience this? Is it only me that has seen all these phenomenal, detailed, well-orchestrated marketing transformation plans? I've got to say, a lot of our IT folks, a lot of tech folks have gotten very sharp on their presentation skills. I'm very impressed, very impressed. I mean, so much work is put into it that it's like, wow. But I don't want to just be the person to preach here. Have some other people seen this happen, or it's just me that has seen this elaborate transformation plans? Feel free to put it in the chat, right? Seems very familiar to you. Yes, planning spiral, like planning, replanning, doing all of this. The more colorful it is, the better it is and everything. And, no, we need more details. We need to commit to this right now when we really don't know what we're talking about, etc., right? And then it's the opposite where I am. Oh, the way opposite, Jessica, please do humor us. Everybody wants the silver bullet plan, but no one knows how to make it because it's a unicorn. And have you told them that? Tell us what happens when you share your viewpoint. Hey, Jessica.
Oh, I'm still very new in the organization, but it's clear that everybody is like expecting someone to come up with this brilliant plan, and no one has, and it's because there's so many complexities, and so it's, yeah,
All the time.
it's a difference of expectations versus reality.
Yeah, and we just keep on doing it, and we keep on having to fool ourselves. That can happen. You'll be figuring. Oh, and I think when I look at all of the methodologies that are out there, some people get overwhelmed, and I do too sometimes. But there's another thought in my mind, right? And the thought in my mind, just like in the interest of time, so we can go on, is I like the fact that people still feel, well, that doesn't work for me. I'm going to go create something else. That doesn't work for me. I'm going to go create something else. And sometimes what they create is even worse than what it did not work. But it's still the fact that I love it that in this agile space, people are creating new things. And I always encourage folks, keep on creating something that will work for you. I've never seen two exact teams. I've never worked with two exact individuals. So I always feel people have to create stuff that works for them. Scrum might have worked good when you started, but you had to evolve into Kanban after, or who knows, or create something of your own. So I feel that this is actually a very positive thing, a healthy thing for the Agile community. Then we can go down the whole certification industry and all the other stuff, which will be for another day, okay? But I really like the fact that you learn new things from trainings that you do and certs that you get and everything. Use that and implement it in the way that works best for you, okay? So I'd like to start off by saying breakthrough solutions with case studies. I'm gonna have 3 of them, okay? But before I get started very quickly, another poll that I wanted to share with you folks, because I just wanted to be sure, how are we at here? What is the crowd, right? Have you led Agile Transformations? Have you been part of them? Are you looking forward to your first one? Like, where are we at in regards to the folks that are here? Okay, do you mind just to share very quickly, okay? I just want to gauge at what tier I've got to go on this, just very quickly. Absolutely. As we talk about breakthrough transformations. Oh, this is awesome. We've got some experienced folks here. That's awesome. 75% of you here have led transformations. Great, great. 29% have been a part of one, and 14% look forward to their first one. Yes, yes. And don't engage the likes of McKinsey if you believe you should roll your own. Please, we don't want to drop names. We want to keep this positive, okay? I understand what you're saying, but we are an inclusive community which enjoys opinions of everybody, including the consulting firms that get paid what they get paid to share what they share, okay? So with that said, breakthrough Agile solutions and the case studies. I mean, I could go through like a bunch of them, but there's like 3 specific ones that I was like, wow, this made all the difference, And I still try to connect to these and get through on these every single time. Speed is one of the most key things when I've worked with teams. High speed delivery and what the feedback loops mean with that. And I have a case study, like the experience that I had with the most agile team that I ever worked with, okay? Trust and psychological safety. A lot of people talk about this. This is a fundamental thing, but how can it truly, like I experienced it just once, that it got implemented and it was a game changer. It was a game changer. It was just phenomenal. I'd like to share that. And when you talk about having an agile mindset, there are things you can do to actually empower it, make it stick. People sharing experiences surrounded around an agile mindset, and I'd like to share that because that was one of the key things. And I kind of liked it because I had a big role in having to implement this. So I was like, yay, so happy about it. And then I'd like to hear some thoughts. It'd be nice. So as I go through these, just think about something in the chat or stuff like that, or drop something in the chat that you might connect with as we share this through. So let's go. High-speed delivery and feedback integration. Back in 2010, I worked with a team of people, 5 people that sat around a desk, okay, a table. And this was, they were consultants hired in to do a proof of concept at the company I was at. These were like really veteran experienced people. They had worked together for numerous years. It's a kind of scenario that, they kind of almost move from company to company together and a really bond, and that trust and be able to do so. The most agile team I have experienced. This was back in 2010. I've not experienced this ever since 2010, 11 plus years. What was it about them that made them so superior? Okay, and made them capable of delivering so much value so quickly. The one thing I noticed about them, because I was the person assigned to them to almost like a project manager / scrum master. Like, here are the consultants, they're doing a proof of concept, schedule the meetings with the folks in the business and everything. And when I brought the people in from the business to where they were, they would say, don't worry about BRD, a business requirement document. Don't worry about having, let's do the epics or stories or stuff like that. They would just tell me what you want the customer to experience. Just talk to us. And as the folks in the business, at first they were kind of hesitant, like, what do you mean talk to you about what I want? They just said, just talk, let's have a conversation. And as they talked, these people started to put stuff down on their stickies, right? Oh yeah, that's interesting. Okay, and they put it up on the wall. And then they put up on the wall. And I was like, what are they doing? Just putting random stuff in the wall. Don't we have to put something in the WBS the work breakdown structure? Don't we have to put something in a document or stuff like that? And they were totally like, Max, we're trying to get an understanding of stuff. And they put the stuff down on the wall. And then what blew my mind is that as soon as they started to work, it didn't matter what the sticky was on the wall. The next person would just grab the sticky on the wall as soon as they had time and start to do the work. And I would be like, hold on, Susan, that's Bob's sticky. And Susan would look at me and say, yeah, but it's the next highest priority thing, right, Max? Yeah. And I'd be like, yes, it is. Well, so I'm going to start to do the work on it. And she'd go and work. It didn't matter what was on that sticky. It could be coding, testing, follow up with a business person to understand a detail of the workflow on the e-commerce site and what drop down they want to see. It didn't matter what it was. They grabbed the next sticky note and they started to work. This was truly a cross-functional team. And this cross-functional team would be able to just put stickies on the wall, start to go off the stickies. And when it came down to it, they didn't even really need sprints, but for just to please me, they said, we'll do 1 week sprints. We would meet with people on a Monday, jot stuff down, put stuff stickies on the wall. By not even Friday, halfway through the week and everything, they'd be like, hey, can you contact so-and-so so we can do a demo of like the first stickies that we have there? And then when they would do the demo, the folks in the business would tell them feedback right there. As in, I'd like to scroll down here. I'd like this to be on the left-hand side. I like it to be on the right. And then they'd be like, okay, cool. Write down a few notes, tasks on a sticky. And I mean, they'd stick it on the board again. And then by the end of the sprint, it's done. It's done. And what I noticed there is that there wasn't a waste of time on how we should structure things in the tool, how we need to connect things or stuff like that. They just focused on having to get stuff out as fast as possible so that they could get feedback. They told me the most important thing is to get feedback. That's the most important. Max, if you can just help us to have the people that we need available to give feedback, that's the most important thing you can do for us. Like I was thinking, hey, I could, because I was very new and young in my Agile Scrum journey then, I was like, I can schedule stand-ups and stuff like that. And they're like, we're already all in sync. If you want us to stop working to just have a meeting, we can do that, but we're already all in sync and we sit around the same table. We're talking about stuff all the time and we just grab the sticky and we go at it. So we don't need to stop and have a meeting to be in sync if we're already in sync. And that was the same thing with a lot of things with meetings today that are so essential, like backlog grooming and sprint planning and stuff like that. When they were just always around the table and communicating and had the stickies and could move stuff around, they did part of the functions of all of that things continuously. And it was just something that I've never seen done. I've not experienced ever since then. And it was incredible. It was incredible, right? So the breakthrough there to me was just being able to work so quickly that the feedback loops were like almost every day. Every day. So Mike said, none of those meetings are essential. Mike, what do you mean by that? Are you, backlog refinement is important, Mike?
Nah, it's just a made up practice that came in at some random point in time that never used to exist and was never needed. And it's not necessary. And to be honest, like for me, agile practices boil down to one thing. You can throw away every other framework you like. There's only one thing that's important: focus. And that's what you were just talking about, focus. Everything else is just window dressing that makes people feel good, right? But you don't need it. Just focus.
You don't need it.
No,
Mike,
you just need focus.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, in my opinion, obviously, clearly,
no,
it's not a fact. It's not facts according to Mike, but it's just focus.
No, Mike, and I appreciate you sharing that because I experienced it. These people had they were brought in, they were paid high dollars to do one particular thing.
Yep.
And they came in, they did that at a speed. Of course, if they were shared with other projects and everything, they would have lost speed. And once you lose speed, you lose a lot. You know, if you don't have the focus, you start to lose the speed, you start to lose the feedback loops, you start to lose all of that. And I've told a lot of people, like a lot of people say, well, we're gonna implement Scrum, or we're gonna implement Safe, or we're gonna, you know what, you can deliver value with, like without Scrum. You can deliver value without Safe. You can deliver value without, like it's possible, okay? But sometimes there's just been so much on there that you have to find what creates, like the ripple effect. And thank you, Mike. Focus is a key thing. Speed is a key thing. And Ned said some teams do need it, some don't. Be agile. It's true. I don't mean to dictate who needs what and stuff like that. And if you need it to deliver value, more power to you. Okay? I just am sharing my experience of like, wow, the kind of things we could deliver on a daily basis, right? In a large corporation that was used to a lot of, churn and stuff like that. Excellent. All you need is love, Ned. Yes. And with that, do you love me, Ned? Do you love me? Absolutely. Cheers. Trust and psychological safety. People talk about this a lot. And honestly, I don't know how you feel about it sometimes, but I've attended some sessions that people just talk. This is the most important thing ever. And then everybody leaves the session and that's it. And at some point, I don't mean to be jaded. I'm this Patel that is jaded here. I'm not. Like, we don't need any more jaded folks. We need glasses half full folks, okay? But sometimes I almost feel like telling people stop talking about it. Stop talking about it, because all you're doing is talking about it, okay? Like, we could spend time doing something else. Like, I've gotten to that point sometimes. But there was this one experience I had. And it was because a leader, an executive, took a certain approach. And I think that in order for psychological safety and trust to be truly built and truly implemented in the right way, someone that has that decision-making ability, someone that has that role has to do it. It cannot come in a lot of ways from what I've experienced. It can from the bottom up, only up to a certain point. So what did this leader do? Okay. They said, he said specifically, I don't care if you fail. I care if you don't learn from your failures. That's the key thing he said. And then what I like about it is that he kept on communicating that all the time. But communication is not important. Communication is not the only, no, sorry, I'll rephrase myself. Communication is important, but communication without action is actually counterproductive. So what he did was to lead by example. What we did is, in our all hands that were almost every 4 or 6 months, he would say, I want everybody, besides saying what you delivered, everything, I want you to talk about, what did you learn? And he used learn because he knew that failure has a bad connection with it. People hear failures, and I don't know, in society is like, oh, you failed. Oh, were you in that team that failed to deliver? Were you in that team that missed their deadline by 2 months? Were you in that? Like, nobody ever says, what did you learn from where you failed and everything, and you didn't deliver on time? You still delivered 70% of the stuff that you had to, and it was the highest priority stuff. But tell us what you learned from the 30% you did not deliver. So he emphasized so much on talking about his failures here's how I failed. Here's how I failed with my executive group and what I did with the business and everything. But here's what I learned. Tell me what you learned. And so all of a sudden, this whole discussion of failures turned around to what you learned. And there was that trust and that safety of sharing failures, because it was all about the stuff we learned. And he would continuously say it, and he would continuously share it. That was just something that always happened. And in the chat, I see communication without intention is a waste. Like, point here. No, I'm there with you. I'm not with you. Some people might say, oh, but that's jaded. I'll go even beyond. That's not just a waste. It actually is harmful. Communication without intention is actually harmful, because then you start to communicate things numerous times. When you want to communicate something that really is important, some people be like, I've heard that before. Oh, it's another transformation effort. I've been at this company for 12 years. We've done 4 culture transformations. Why do I have to even bother to even attend this or partake in it? Because you've not done anything, and it's made people actually be hesitant about it. So it's harmful. It's not just a waste of time. It's really bad. And we need more leaders like him. Corinne, that's absolutely true. And keep in mind, the only thing I remember about this person from years back was that he said, I want to build trust. I want to build safety. I want everybody to share what they learned from their failures. That's the only thing I remember about him. But it was so powerful. It was his breakthrough approach to say, I'm not about portfolio planning. I'm not about like this. My executive plan is these 10 transformation things and blah, blah. He just said one thing, and that had a ripple effect. A ripple effect. I can still remember how people showed up and talked about things and shared their learnings. It was just so empowering, so empowering. So the last one that I'd like to share on the breakthrough is something that's very important in the Agile world. And it's your Agile mindset. And it's interesting how we talk a lot about Agile mindset and try to implement an Agile mindset, Agile transformation and stuff like that. And to me, having talked about Agile specifically, the name Agile was from like the 2001 Agile Manifesto, which was a combination of the Agile values, the 4 values, and the 12 principles. I'd like to focus more on the 4 values because they're not as IT centric, and I just get more out of them. That's just how I approach the Agile mindset, is in having to be able to respond to change, which was a very key thing that I shared before. Just having to get feedback from the customer, close collaboration with the customer, okay? These things like that. Individuals and interactions, okay, above a plan. These were the things that I really appreciated. And then, as I said, with that other team, one of the best Agile teams that I worked with is continuous demos, show the product, get feedback on the product, etc. So how would we help? What experience did I have that really helped nail the Agile mindset? And it was interestingly enough, it was around a rewards point system. A rewards point system. And it was something that I tried out because I'd seen it done before at a culture transformation in a company, which the culture transformation flopped, but what people appreciated more was being acknowledged and rewarded for doing certain things. It created an experience in them. And I'd like to share that with you. First thing is you reward people for Agile Manifesto behaviors. So if I'm in a team and Susan just nailed it on the demo, like she was like, she went through the things that were key and everything. She didn't wait for the end of sprint planning. She said, I'm done with these 2 main stories and we still have 6 days in the sprint, but I like to do a demo. Scheduled the meeting herself, stuff like that. She's a dev person, but she was like, don't worry, product owner or scrum master, you're swamped. Scheduled it and everything. did the demo, got feedback, everything. So what we did then is you would award Susan points for working software, working product. One of the Agile Manifesto values was the thing you could use to award points to Susan. So I would award 100 points to Susan, and then everybody else, because it's almost like it's a public internal kind of like an interface. Some of the people that were at the demo were like, they see it come up on the dashboard and they're like, yes, I was there. Susan rocked. And that made all the difference. So they can assign points of their own. You get a certain amount of points every month and you get assigned points. So then start to think about this whole thing about like frequent flyer miles and you get points and stuff like that. And then with your points, you can purchase something with your points. You can do something with your points, but you got your points because you displayed Agile Manifesto values that someone else saw. And they were like individuals and interactions above documentation and stuff. Like that's what stood out to me when Bob did that. Ned nailed it when it came to having to respond to change. We didn't know how to change our approach and our plan and everything. And Ned came out with a concept approach and we're like, responding to change. I'm going to assign 25 points to Ned. Well, he didn't impress me that much. 10 points to Ned. Right? But then someone else would see it come up and we're like, no, like only 10 points. Like, and they would assign, you get a certain amount of points per month and people would assign their points. They would assign their points and they would get points assigned. And you know, we didn't track who did what or whatever. Oh, is that gonna, you know, all that BS about, we got to make sure you just give the autonomy to people to assign their points, right? Corin, it is an interesting idea. How were the points managed? But there was a tool. There are actually various tools that do this now, right? And there was a tool that that was a third vendor tool. It wasn't something that we built. I forget the name now, but Ned just shared one. But we would go there and we would do the, I'm like assigning them points, and then I mean, like you could set it up so that you could get like a notification when something is posted on their new. But people would go onto this site like multiple times a week and see stuff and everything. And then they would be like, oh yeah, I want to assign points. I want to do this. And it was a collaborative way to keep the Agile mindset live and at the forefront. And the key thing about that is that it created experiences. Talking about Agile is one thing. Going to Agile trainings is another thing. No, Ned, it's not. Talking about things is a good thing. You share ideas, you share viewpoints. We're talking right now. Isn't this a good thing, Ned? Kind of, for the most part. It's a good thing. But when
No
you
points.
start,
No points.
yeah, a few points. Right? But when you start to assign points, all of a sudden, I remember. Do you know what I remember? This happened like 7 to 8 years ago. But the points I got, I exchanged those points on the site for Airbnb dollars. And we used those Airbnb dollars. It didn't cover the entire stay that me and my family went to San Diego for. It didn't, but we used it. It covered, it was like $175. And I still remember that. I still remember what I got the points for. I still remember the experiences that I felt when I got the points. It connected. And if you can make the Agile Manifesto connect with people, continuously reminding them, people will acknowledge each other for displaying Agile values. And that, my friends, is very powerful. That is a breakthrough solution to get Agile mindset in people's mind. And it's not just about the monetary gain, because I remember like the monetary gain a lot, but I remember what I did and what was acknowledged by other people. Because you can feel like you did something good, but when you get the acknowledgement from your peers, your managers, your executives, for everything else, there's American Express. So you may not remember what happened, but you remember how you feel. bingo. You remember how you feel. You don't forget that. It's incredible, right? And a lot of times you remember what made you feel like that. Very, very powerful. Anybody else? The matchsticks? Yeah. And very quickly, sorry if, we might not have time to share and everything. I know it's even late in the day. People might be drained. Like, I got to share a breakthrough that I experienced once. No, Max, I just want to sit back and listen. I got my tea here and then I'm done for the day. But I would just like to hear, does someone have one breakthrough experience that they experienced? And they were like, yes. It wasn't about like a process framework or training or something like that. It was just something that somebody did that just had a huge effect. Just boom. Don't all think at the same time or come up with something at the same time. Feel free to put it in the chat and then we can talk about it. Ned said, Om said, training is like Band-Aid. Apply immediately before you bleed to death. Oh, you're on a roll today, Om. No, I'm gonna stand up for training because even though sometimes I connect certifications to the Agile industrial complex and the money-making machine out there, no, I have learned from certifications that I did. I have learned, and it's really powerful to learn something new. It's really powerful, okay? Now, did I implement what I learned? That's a whole other story too. But I learned something new, and I love learning new things. So training can be a positive thing. Yes, +1 to Om. All right, Ned, thanks. Nice knowledge. So if nobody has something right on the spot to share, or you want to think about it, I'll go ahead. And as conclusion, Max's tips. Now, okay, I'm going to keep it short. I could have a long list, I could have put some more stuff on my Kanban board there that hasn't changed for 3 days and stuff. But there's just a few things that I would specifically like to get through. And 3 things are what have stood out to me now that, I've been in my professional career for 20 years, doing the Agile Transformations 12 plus. I kind of like through the trial and error scenario, I've come down to some key things. Change can be a very painful thing. And a lot of times when I introduce change, I try to be very subtle about it. Might be hard to believe, but I can be subtle and chilled. I try to be very chilled and understanding about everybody's viewpoints. But when you share things that are a big change to some people, and some people feel that, well, that impacts my role, that impacts who I am, that impacts how I do things, impacts the value I bring, you have to be prepared for the consequences. And what I have discovered in being prepared for the consequences is you have to be ready to be like, hey, you know what? If we're not on the same page about that, that's okay. I'm just going to pack up and go somewhere else. I'm just going to pack up and go. But to be in that kind of a position, you have to be in a very financial, secure position, a very professional, secure kind of a position. And something that I've done that has dramatically helped me there is I've done things outside of my IT professional work, specifically in investment properties that provide a passive income that allow me to be like, hey, I can make a decision that is not aligned with everybody else because that's how I feel. And I feel psychologically safe in having to do that. And it doesn't impact the well-being of myself or my family or my daughter, Sasha, who's there, who's trying to plug in her iPad right now for power, okay? You've got to take care of a lot of things. And if you're not in the right kind of a position and a mindset, you will not be prepared to change things. And this is very important. Be prepared to really experience the consequences of having to introduce change. And there are some, so Max, what do you mean by subtle? Will you give an example for Max, subtle as half brick? So we'll go into that in a different meetup session than now. Thank you. Okay. I don't know why people aren't talking about this more. I don't know why we are not preparing people for the disruption that is coming up. I mean, things are changing faster than they ever have been. And the way we work, the roles that we have, it could be that in the next 5 years, some roles might not exist completely. And people will have to adapt to do new roles. I don't see organizations and companies training people to say, hey, don't only be a Java developer, try to do some business process mapping so that, you might, if there might be a lot of no code tools out there, which they're out there already, and there's not as much a need for Java coding, you can like adapt and be like that business facing tech person that can use all the different tools and knows cloud technology and all these other things. And you can evolve into that role. I don't see people talking about that as much. Well, a lot of disruption is coming down the pipeline. And if you're not one of those people that's prepared or doing the disruption, you will be disrupted. It's just going to happen. I can name so many roles that existed when I started my tech career that don't exist anymore. And that's just going to speed up. And I don't see people being more aware of that and understanding trends and diversifying their skill sets, right? I see people doing the one particular role and that's all they do. I can see in the future, people doing 3-4 roles, 3-4 diverse roles. They just switch hats and they have a lot of tools and automation and AI that helps them to do that. I can see that. No code. I think that is a key thing that was called out by Om in 3 to 5 years. Yes, I think that is, and imagine what kind of a game changer that is, right? I can't talk about psychological safety enough. I've seen that is not only that the Aristotle project that Google made and they invested tens of millions of dollars to study their teams because that's what Google does. And then they share it with the world because that's what they do. And they discovered that the most important thing to people is psychological safety. It's not about getting paid more. It's not about like getting more technical training. It's not about who knows what. It's about like having a purpose to things and whatnot. But it's about being safe, feeling that if I share my viewpoint, I'm not going to be marginalized because of it. People are not going to look differently at me. And what is really important, which is coming up very much more, is diversity, inclusivity. People want to be themselves at their work too. I don't want to be somebody else. I don't want to play the game. I don't want to play politics. I just want to, so how can you increase psychological safety within yourself, within your mentality and being, and around you? People, you will be able to work much better and get much more from a team and just add more value to your end user when people around you are just feel a lot more psychological safe. Okay, but this is something you have to work at. It's something that you have to do. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't just happen. And I see that a lot of people talk about it, but as was already said, having to talk about things and not have an action can be just a waste of time or even worse. Right. And folks, what chats do we have here? Everything is hackable. Get used to it. I wonder what you were replying to further up in that chain, Matt. Okay, let's get on that. No code stuff. Yes, I see your point. Sheila, yes, was repeating that. Anna, less work-life separation now. People are not as likely to stick around just for a paycheck. And I think that is so empowering. It is so empowering. And especially when people make a certain amount that it covers their needs, it's not about that 10%, 20% increase or stuff like that. I mean, if it's more than that, yes, it might be, but there's so much more that people are searching for now. And I think that it's like an evolution of things, because even in the SIG that I facilitate, we weren't talking about psychological safety and empowerment and stuff like that 10 years ago. It wasn't, but now we do. It's a different world now. And I feel very optimistic. It's trending in the right direction. And this was a great session. Thanks for joining, Om, and everything. Come again. Oh, and yeah, it was a great session, especially because you won something, Om. You're welcome. Yeah, cheers. Okay. And Jessica, it takes a lot of effort to protect the team's psychological safety. It's interesting that you already phrase it in a way to protect it, as if it's getting attacked or stuff like that. Like, why do we have to be in that position? Why, right? It should just be something from an organizational company perspective. It's a key priority. But yes, there's a lot of self-mastery. Greg said, I have to drop. Thanks for joining, Greg. Stuff like that. Oh, we're over time, aren't we? It was 7:30. Stop keeping us here, folks, okay? With your chats and everything. Hey, thank you for joining. If you want to contact me, please ping me on LinkedIn. Please. We are recording this session. It will go on our YouTube channel. Sign up for it on Meetup, YouTube, etc., etc. Thank you all for joining, and have a good week and beyond. Stay safe, folks. Stay agile. Thank you. Thank you. I'll stick around till everybody drops off for good. I love you too, Ned. Love you too. Thanks, Clement. Corrine, take care. Thanks for joining from all over the place, folks.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, I like that our winners went to Ottawa, and that we had people from Ottawa and Tampa.
Yeah.
I mean, the East Coast, hot and cold on the average, it's fine.
We'll show them love some other time. And my Kahoot just got jacked up. Everything I was logged on, everything was precise and everything, and then Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law. Always happens. Always happens. Oh, Jeff, I didn't hear from you. Did you just log on and leave, Jeff? Is that what it is? Hey? Oh, no.
I've been practicing something called continuous partial attention.
Now that's psychological safety.
Do you get value from it? Do you get value from it, Jeff?
I actually have some real interesting examples of that. It's not quite the same as multitasking, but and I would feel guilty if it was. But yeah, I'm like I'm in the middle of a book and listening, and yeah. So I know multitasking doesn't work, but I can list caveats as well.
We have accepted that now. It's like multitasking doesn't work.
Did you finish the crossword puzzle, Jeff?
We're making progress in society. Like, at least there's certain things that we have accepted don't work. I mean, it's Ned. It is a step in the right direction. It's a step in the right direction. The fact that psychological safety is important is accepted. Do people do it?
You have to start there. I mean, there's nothing else works unless you do that. But I mean, that's the point I put in the chat. If there is alignment, if the leaders know what they're trying to do and express that mission or express that vision clearly, and have integrity about it, and aren't empire building and finding fault, and if we're trying to get across the finish line, that's where we're going. We'll go as fast as we can. Mm-hmm. And when people stumble along the way, we pick them up and help them keep going again.
Finish.
And that psychological safety just falls out of that. If you don't have that, you're not going to have it anyway.
It's not, and I don't want to sound like, oh, the leaders have to have it or else you're all done with it. But it really is. I've seen so much ground root stuff that grew and everything. And one decision from a leader just killed it all.
Yep.
Killed like months of work. And I'm like, you know what? No, thank you. I'm not going to have to deal with that. I'm not going to deal with that. And I just, with the passing of time, transitioned to a different company because I'm not going to deal with that, right? And I don't even know if some people are aware that they do it or what, but I'm sorry. I mean, it's just too obvious. It's too obvious a thing. And, when I express my feedback that we had alignment and everything, and then you made a decision that was totally in a different direction, people feel as if, we can't depend on each other. I didn't want to say we can't trust you. I didn't want to say that.
You have demonstrated that you're inauthentic, and people immediately say, "Okay, what else is broken?"
Okay, what else is broken? Okay, what else is broken? Oh, I gotta stop this recording and get going. This is like a sneak preview for another session that we gotta have. Ned, thank you for being on board to be on the panel for our December session. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time.
I hope so. If not, it'll end early.
It'll end early. That's it. Regardless, it'll be a good time, I think. Bye. Take care, Ned. Cheers.
Later.
Bye, Jeff. Always a
Bye-bye.
pleasure. Bye, Sam, Eric, and Sherry. See you around.